Let's get real. Pretty much everything you've been told about retirement is wrong. That safe, comfortable plan you've been paying into for decades, it's less of a safety net and more of a trap. It's a promise from a world that doesn't exist anymore and is not going to survive what's happening with today's economy. And while you're being told to save just enough to scrape by, the rich are getting richer. Why? Because it's not about building a cash nest egg for yourself. It's about building multi-generational assets. And by the end of this video, you'll know why retirement plans are a waste of time and money, and you'll know 5 ways you can stop giving your retirement away and start building your own family's legacy. Welcome to Uncle Sam Saves America, where national problems meet local solutions. I'm Uncle Sam.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
If you're a Gen Xer like me, this whole idea of a solo retirement, saving up a big pile of money just big enough to live on until you die, it's a busted 20th century concept. It's collapsing right in front of us because it was built for a world for lifetime jobs, predictable costs, and a social safety net that was actually safe. That world is long gone.
This is certainly not part of Larry Gessick's retirement plan. The 77-year-old electrician by trade leaves at 5:30 a.m. and heads for his part-time job unloading trailers at a local supermarket in St. Petersburg, Florida, for $14.75 an hour. His wife, Joyce, 66, prepares for her workday, making $14 an hour as a full-time legal administrator.
It's not really a retirement.
What is it?
It's working every day.
The Gessicks came out of retirement not because they wanted to, but because they had to, and are among the 11 million Americans, 1 in 5 over 65, who are still working.
It's hard, 77, still busting my butt.
Today we're living in a constant world of uncertainty. A world where the cost of essentials has jumped by about 20% since 2021, and that price level isn't just going to snap back. It's a world where retirement confidence is cratering because the squeeze of higher prices is weighing on everyone. Recent surveys from groups like Employee Benefit Research Institute show that a huge number of workers are worried that inflation is going to mess up their retirement plans. The promise was simple. Work for 40 years, hand your money over to some funds manager or the government, and they'd take care of you. The reality of that promise is breaking. The math just doesn't add up anymore. And holding on to that old way of thinking is probably the single biggest threat to your family's sovereignty and security. Let's be crystal clear about what I mean. The lie isn't that pensions and 401ks are fake. The lie is the promise that they'll give you a comfortable, stress-free life when you're older. It's a 3-part deception that millions of people are still falling for, and we need to break it down. We're going to do that right now. First, there's a lie of enough. The numbers the financial industry throws around are based on averages that are totally skewed by the super rich. They show you a big average retirement balance, but that's not the reality for most people. When you look at the median, the actual number in the middle, the picture gets kind of scary. For a Gen X worker between their late 40s and late 50s, studies from places like Vanguard show a median 401k balance of around $87,000 for the 45 to 54-year-old age group. I think that's a little high. But let me ask you, does $87,000 sound like enough money to last you 20, 30, or 40 years after your retirement? Especially when studies from firms like Fidelity estimate that a couple retiring today might need over $300,000 just for health care? It's not. It's a setup for failure.
Ben, thank you for taking time to talk about an important topic that will affect most of today's retirees. When it comes to healthcare costs in retirement, what should people be thinking about?
Well, there's a lot to think about because health costs are often more than people think they're going to be. One of the challenges with healthcare costs is they're actually pretty unpredictable. Unlike other expenses that may be fixed or have a slight range, healthcare costs can vary by person based on their medical conditions and even where they live. According to our recent Fidelity retiree healthcare cost estimate, the average 65-year-old retiring this year can expect to need more than $172,500 to cover medical and healthcare expenses throughout retirement. For a couple, that's more than $345,000. And this estimate does not cover the cost of long-term care if that's needed. So our research reveals is a major gap between what people will need to spend on healthcare in retirement, more than $345,000, versus what they think they will spend according to our survey, less than $150,000 per couple. To make this a bigger challenge, the costs of healthcare typically rise faster than your average inflation year over year.
The second part is the lie of stability. They tell you that your pension is safe, but what's it invested in? And more importantly, what's the whole system built on? Social Security's own trustees say its main retirement fund is projected to face a shortfall around 2033. If Congress doesn't act, that could trigger an automatic benefit cut of around 21%. Can your retirement plan handle a deduction of 21%? This isn't some conspiracy theory. It's from the official reports of the people running the show.
Millions of Americans rely on Social Security, but a new report is raising concerns about the program's future.
Yeah, the Social Security Trust Fund is now projected to run out of money by 2032, which could mean reduced benefits unless lawmakers take action. Joining us live to help break it all down is Alex Jaquez. He's the Chief of Policy and Advocacy at Groundwork Collaborative. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so first start with the basics so everybody knows what we're talking about. Explain what the Social Security Trust Fund is and how many people would be impacted.
So the Social Security Trust Fund is what takes the taxes that are taken out of people's payrolls and transferred to a fund to pay out Social Security benefits when they reach retirement age. The Social Security trustee report that just came out on Tuesday showed that we will hit a depletion level for the trust fund 1 quarter earlier than previously projected, starting in Q4 2032. And that means starting in Q4 2032, benefits will have to be cut to about 78% of what they are now, if Congress doesn't take action, which would impact 71 million people who rely on old age benefits.
Back in 1960, there were more than 5 workers paying into Social Security for every 1 person taking money out. Today, that ratio is down to about 2.7 to 1, and it's still dropping. The whole thing is a pay-as-you-go system that needs a constantly growing population and a stable economy, 2 things that we definitely do not have right now. And the big shift from old school pensions to 401k has just moved all of that risk from the institutions right onto your shoulders. The third lie is the lie of inflation.
Inflation rate climbed to more than 4% last month, according to a report from the Labor Department. Surging gas prices and energy costs are to blame.
Your pension statement might show a big, impressive number, but that number is meaningless if you don't account for how inflation eats away at it. Even a moderate 2.5% inflation rate will cut the real value of your money by nearly 40% over 20 years. And what have we seen over the last several years? Stubbornly high inflation that has forced most older workers to completely rethink their plans. The prices for things retirees spend most on, healthcare, food, housing, have constantly risen faster than the official inflation rate. Pouring more money into a system designed for a low inflation world is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. And we discussed the leaky bucket theory in last week's episode. I'll leave a link at the end of the video. So you can work harder, you can pour more money in, but you'll never get ahead. And the system is rigged for you to lose. In the next section, I'm going to show you what not only you, but your entire family loses by following the old way. And after that, we're going to discuss how you can begin to build real assets today. So what happens when this whole thing finally falls apart? What's the real human cost? It's not just a number on a screen. It's a slow motion destruction of your life, your family, and everything that you've worked for. The first cost is a retirement filled with anxiety. Instead of the golden years of travel and relaxing that you were sold, you'll spend time pinching every penny. You'll be stressed about choosing between a prescription refill and a full grocery cart. You'll feel that pit in your stomach every time the market dips because your survival is tied to a system that you have zero control over. Recent retirement confidence surveys show this anxiety is widespread, with rising costs and doubts about Social Security freaking people out. This isn't freedom. It's a prison of financial fear. It's the constant worry that you'll outlive your money. But it gets worse. The second, and maybe most painful consequence, is becoming a financial burden to your own children. This is the sick joke of the solo retirement plan. In trying to make you independent, it actually creates the very dependency it was supposed to prevent. And when your pension isn't enough, when that unexpected medical bill hits, who's your safety net? Your kids. The people you wanted to give a better life are now forced to pull money from their own families and their own futures to bail you out. They have to tap into their kids' college funds or delay their own retirement, all because the system you trusted let you down. And this creates a vicious cycle where each generation is dragged down by the one before it. And that's not legacy, it's liability. The solo retirement model isn't just selfish, it's self-defeating. It isolates you, and in the end, it messes up the financial health of the people that you love the most. And that leads to the biggest cost of all, leaving no legacy whatsoever. The solo retirement model is designed for one thing, for your last paycheck to bounce. To burn through every single dollar on yourself. There's no idea of continuity, no thought for the next generation, no vision beyond your own life. You work your whole life to build up a big pile of money just so that it can be completely wiped out before your last day. You leave behind nothing. No assets, no foundation, no head start for your kids or grandkids. And each generation has to start over from scratch, run the same rat race, and fall for the same lie. In a world where trillions of dollars are being passed down between generations, the families who follow the old retirement script are going to be left in the dust. They'll be renting in a world full of owners. They'll be working in businesses owned by others. They will be forever playing catch up in a game that was rigged against them from the start. Now let me be clear, this is not your fault. You were sold a dream, but it's time to wake up and see that that dream is over. It's time to ditch the broken, fragile model. It's time to stop thinking about a nest egg and start thinking about a dynasty. Stick around, because in the next section, we're going to look at 5 ways that you can begin forming your own destiny today. Now, this is where we flip the script. We stop playing their game of saving just enough to spend, and we start playing the game of the wealthy, acquiring assets. And the goal isn't to save money to spend. The goal is to own assets that produce income forever. This is a huge mindset shift. From an individual retirement to a family dynasty, it's not just about you anymore. It's about your family for generations. And you don't have to be rich to do this. You just have to be strategic. It's about building a system that can take a punch from the economy, last longer than any single job, and give every generation a platform to build on. And we're going to do this by focusing on 5 pillars of multi-generational wealth. And you can begin with any one of these pillars today. Pillar number 1, real property and land. The first pillar is the oldest and most dependable form of wealth that there is: real estate and land. Unlike stock or cash, land is real. You can touch it. They're not making any more of it. Property does a few things for a family dynasty. First, it can generate income through rent, which doesn't depend on your 9-to-5 or what the stock market is doing. That income provides a stable financial floor for the family. Second, property is an awesome hedge against the very inflation that wrecks traditional retirement plans. As the cost of living goes up, so do rents and property values. Taxes do as well, but that means that your family's asset base and income can grow with inflation instead of being eaten alive by it. But most importantly, property is a legacy asset. It's something you can physically pass down, a real connection between generations. It can be a family home, collateral for a new business, or a safety net for your grandchild's education. Owning property changes your family from being renters in life to owners of their own world. It's the physical foundation of your dynasty and your family's slice of America. Pillar number 2, the family business and income streams. The second pillar is a family business or a collection of income streams. A family business is one of the most powerful engines for creating wealth that lasts for generations because it gives you two critical things: cash flow and a mission. Unlike a salary that disappears when you stop working, a good business is an asset that makes money on its own. And this doesn't have to be some giant corporation. It could be a local service business, an online shop, a consulting practice, a small farm, or whatever. The key is that it's an asset that can be passed down, grown, or even sold. It's also the perfect training ground for the next generation. It teaches them about responsibility, financial literacy, and hard work in a way that a classroom never could. It creates a shared mission that can bring a family together. And hey, if not every kid wants to be in the family business, that's fine. A smart family business can separate ownership from management so the next generation can be responsible owners who hire pros to run the day-to-day operation. So go ahead and start that side hustle. It could be the gateway to your family's financial future. Pillar number 3, precious metals and assets. Now, I've been tough on the financial system, and for good reason. This third pillar is about owning real wealth that sits outside of the fragile system. Precious metals like gold, silver, and other hard assets like gemstones. For thousands of years, long before there were stock markets or even paper money, these were the ultimate stores of value. The mistake most people make is seeing their entire net worth in currencies that can be devalued or in digital accounts that rely on a system. In the sovereign model, hard assets play a different role. They're the family's ultimate insurance policy, a permanent store of value meant to preserve wealth across centuries, not just years. Gold and silver have been money for civilizations from ancient Rome to the 19th century gold standard. And unlike paper currencies, their supply is limited by nature, not by a politician's promise or the Fed deciding to print more money. You can even start today by simply buying 1 ounce of silver for less than $100. And that's how it begins. Similarly, high-quality rare gemstones can serve as a concentrated and portable store of wealth, passed down through generations. And this pillar isn't about getting rich quick. It's about ensuring your family's core wealth is indestructible. And we've just gone over the first 3 pillars for turning your shaky retirement plan into a rock-solid family dynasty. And this is a huge change in the way that you have to think. And I know it can feel like a lot. You're moving from a mindset of consuming to a mindset of creating, from planning for yourself to building for generations. And you take one small step today toward any of these first 3 pillars, and your family will be on their way to multi-generational assets. Now, let's get into the most important pillars. The first 3 were about financial capital. These last 2 are about human and intellectual capital. And this brings us to the 4th pillar, and maybe the one people talk about the least: skill-based capital. See, money is just a tool. The ability to create real, tangible value in the physical world is a skill. And unlike money, knowledge and skills can't be wiped out by a market crash or an automated away by a new piece of software. They can't be taken over by AI. Building a family dynasty means that you have to intentionally create a culture of real-world competence. We're talking about knowledge, skills that are desperately in need right now. Think about it. Carpentry, plumbing, becoming a mechanic, being a general handyman. These aren't just jobs. They're timeless skills that solve real-world problems. And while society's been pushing 4-year degrees, we've created a massive shortage of people who can actually build and fix things. And that shortage is your family's opportunity. Imagine owning rental properties in Pillar 1 and having family members who can do the maintenance and repairs. And that knowledge doesn't just save you money, it builds a self-reliant system. Imagine passing down the knowledge of a mechanic or an electrician. That skill can become a family business in Pillar 2. Or it can simply be the thing that ensures your family is never without a way to create value. Teach them skills like organization, leadership, critical thinking, financial literacy. These skills are your family's true safety net because they're resilient to economic downturns and always in demand. Your family's greatest asset isn't just money, it's the collective ability to be useful in the real world. Pillar number 5, family values and ethics. This leads us to the final most important pillar, the glue that holds it all together, a shared system of family values. This is the operating system for your legacy. Without it, wealth becomes a source of entitlement and conflict, and eventually the very thing that tears the family apart. So what does this look like? It's about instilling a moral compass that guides every member of the family long after you're gone. It's a culture built on unwavering principles, honesty in all dealings, and loyalty to one another. A deep sense of empathy that extends not to just each other, but to the community that you operate in, ensuring that your family is a force for good. It's about a culture of hard work and merit, where contribution is valued more than title, and entitlement has no place to grow. It's about teaching good citizenship, understanding that your family's success is tied to the health of the society around it. Values are the difference between leaving your kids a pile of cash that they fight over, or leaving them a shared purpose that they can build upon together for generations. So let's wrap this up. The old way of thinking about retirement is failing. It's an individualistic, fragile, and outdated idea that leaves you anxious, makes you a potential burden on your kids, and guarantees that everything that you have worked for disappears when you do. And the data is clear. Rising costs, shaky social programs, and inflation are turning the dream of a comfortable pension into a lie. This path isn't easier. It takes more work, more learning, and more intention than just handing your money over to a funds manager. But it leads to a totally different place. It leads to a future of security, not anxiety. A future where you're an asset to your kids, not a liability. A future where your life's work becomes the foundation for generations of prosperity and opportunity. This is about more than money. This is about family sovereignty. It's about taking back control from a broken system and building your own. In a world that is uncertain as the one we live in today, the safest bet you can make is on yourself and on your family. You've been watching Uncle Sam Saves America, where national problems meet local solutions. I'm Uncle Sam. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel out, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.